So in today's video, I want to cover exactly on how you can land your very first high ticket sales role in 2024. This is a full guide. I'm going to break down exactly the principles that allowed me to get to 10K a month in commission through high ticket sales and how you can replicate the same success I've had so you can do it yourself. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Elijah. Welcome. And I only have two goals in this channel. Number one is to share the lessons and mistakes that I've done in the past so you don't have to do the same mistakes I've done. Number two, help you make a lot of money. So number one problem people have when they're trying to get into high ticket sales, and I'm assuming you watch a bunch of videos already to try to land your very first high ticket sales role, or you're struggling on your cold DMs to get that interview, to get an opportunity just because you don't have any experience. So this video is for you if you don't have any experience right now on how you can break through this industry. And again, I want to break down exactly more of like what are the 4 different ways on how you can land your role right now. So I'm going to go to my whiteboard right here. So there are different ways you can do it, right? So number one is you can go direct, then there's indirect, and I'm going to break down exactly what these things mean, right? And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you guys exactly which one is my favorite one as well. And then so what does DINA stands for, right? So it's not a girl, but DINA means direct, indirect, networking, and agencies. So those are the 4 different ways you can land your very first high ticket sales role if you don't have any experience. So these 2 will more likely going to be paid, right? And these 2 right here is going to be free, right? So majority of you guys, if you don't have any cash, to invest, then these will be your best friends, right? And obviously, if it's free, then you'd need more volume. But if you want fast, then you have to actually make sure you gotta pay, right? That is just how things work, right? So for example, the principle is if you have a lot of time, then money-wise, then you don't have a lot of money. But if you don't have a lot of time, then that means you have money. There's no in between on this, right? I'm assuming 80% of you guys would have more time, but none of these. So these are going to be your best friends. So before I even dive right into all of these things, I have to break down exactly some of the principles that help me and that serve me break through in entrepreneurship in general that will help you guys out to make sure on how do you actually approach getting into this space, or in entrepreneurship in general, or in sales, specifically in remote sales. You have to understand that you have to look at your inputs and your outputs, right? So meaning that inputs is like the DMs you send, right? The follow-ups that you do, the skill training that you do, and then outside, what do you do exactly, right? Because this will, by definition, will determine what the outputs you get. For example, if you get 0 responses right now on your DMs, then that means your messaging is probably the one that you need to look at, your messaging opening line. And then your follow-up, right? Like, well, how many times do you follow up? So you have to look at it more scientifically in terms of attracting the right people to go for, right? So I'm talking about direct right now. Those are the things that you have to consider. But ultimately, what direct means is going directly to the people who are actually running an offer right now. So, for example, like let's say this is the offer creator, right? So offer creator is the one who you want to work with. So these are the people that sell high ticket services between, 5K all the way to like 50K or however much they sell their service. So direct means, like let's say this is the business owner, right? Direct means they're actively looking. So these are the Facebook groups, right? And if you're watching this video, I'm sure that this is not your first time actually watching a video about landing an offer, right? So I want to break it down in a higher level view more for you so you understand why it's not working, and for some people it works. You guys are using the same strategy, but for you, why does it not work, right? So that's my main goal in today's video is I want to break it down in a higher level view to understand your inputs and outputs and how you can actually genuinely land your offer, right? So direct means Facebook groups, right? And then like job postings or anything that's actively, like for example, maybe you're following a bunch of offer creators and in their story, they're actively seeking people for appointment setters, closers, SDRs, right? So that's what I mean when it's direct. And when it's indirect, that means, for example, there's another business owner that works for the offer creators, right? So meaning these are the people that maybe sells video editing, video edits, maybe they have content agencies, right? Maybe they have some type of like marketing agency, sales agency, any agency. So that's what it means. But essentially, this is indirect. And looking at the communities and where these people hang out, ultimately, that's your main question that you need to ask yourself. Let's give this guy an arm. So that's what I mean when it's indirect, right? So those are the two ways you're going to help yourself. And now that there's actually school, right? So the platform is cool, similar to Facebook groups, right? It's so much more easier now to get offers and get in touch with those offer creators because they're incentivized to actually host free calls or have a free community for them to get to acquire their clients. So you have to be creative when it comes to actually connecting with the business owners, and you need to build relationship with them. Let's break down exactly how do you get to these people and how do you actually build a relationship. Because now in 2024, you have to understand that direct outreach, it's people are tired of like getting cold pitched the same way. And I have to break down exactly the two principles of sales. So what are the two principles of sales, right? Two principles of sales is number one, people don't like to be sold to. They don't like to be sold to. And number two is people buy from people they like. So those are the two principles of sales. If you were to reverse engineer that on doing your outreach, because technically yourself, you're trying to sell yourself to become their appointment setter, their closer. So the same principle applies when you're trying to apply for these opportunities is how do you reverse engineer the principle of sales? So number one, offer creators don't want to be pitched to. Just cold, right? Obviously, you have to build a relationship with them and it needs to be value-based, especially if you're doing cold DMs, right? And number two, if people don't like to be sold to, then they don't want to be pitched to. But if people buy from people they like, then the same thing with working with business owners. People want or hire people they like. So that's the main principle you have to understand is people buy from people they like. Well, you don't want to directly just message them the same way everybody's messaging them directly. It's like, oh, are you looking for appointment setter, closer, whatever it is. So number one in cold, one of the most important principles of cold outreach is you have to provide value. You have to provide value when you're getting into the space, right? Especially when you're a beginner. This is extremely important. And you have to be creative at this point, right? And yes, it requires a lot of time to do all of these things, but that's what's going to garner the results that you're looking for because you don't have any leverage right now. If you have zero experience, you have lower leverage compared to the people who has experience. So like, let's say this is experience, right? With experience. And then these are the offer creators. You can't really pull anything because it's too low, right? But the longer you are, this is like, let's say the experience, this box right here. And your goal is to get it at least here. And that's when you stack up. Maybe the offer that you get into is maybe not the best, but you can leverage that to your next offer or the next opportunity that you have. Then you can leverage this bad, not so good offer to this next offer, and then the next offer that you have. So my timeline is always 1 to 2 months. So maybe at the beginning, it's mainly focused on cold outreach, right? And then cold lead list when you're getting into an offer. Then eventually you evolve to more warm lists, right? More better opt-ins on the opportunity. And then you transition to actually inbound leads, right? So now that you have this experience, you can leverage that. That's why it's so important as well. Can you actually go out there, maybe going into an opportunity in person before you transition to remote sales, right? Because all of these things you can use as a leverage getting into the space, because ultimately the goal is to just get a really good opportunity, and it only requires one good opportunity for you to genuinely transition your entire life. Like one offer allowed me to change my entire life and being able to work anywhere. And if the sacrifices for you required to get there is you're not willing to do that, meaning like doing the cold DMs consistently, getting rejected consistently, then maybe you have to rethink on getting into the entire industry at the first place, because you're going to get rejected a lot of times. And you have to understand the inputs and outputs. So if you're getting rejected a lot of times and there's a lot of friction, that means you're growing, because you have to understand your skill set and where you're at. You have to be aware that if you have zero experience, you don't have a lot of leverage. Your only leverage is being likable, being able to have the good impression on the interviews. Those are the things that you have to take in consideration when you're reaching out to these people. And you might be wondering, bro, like, I'm not going to give you a template on how to outreach to people. I'm giving you the principles right now because that's what you're missing. Here's the biggest misconception people have when they're watching YouTube videos on how to land an offer, how to get into the specific business opportunity. There's not a template that's going to save your life on getting an offer. Unfortunately, you cannot just, this is what people do. This is why people fail on getting into a good offer. Is this what they expect? They watch a YouTube video, they skip to the point where, oh, where's a template? So I just can copy and paste it. And then after you copy paste it, and then they DM it to the offer creators. And then you have to understand, I get maybe like 8 to 10 cold pitches every single day. Do you think that I would respond to that if you're not creative, if you're not unique with 90% of the people? That's why I'm always a big, a preacher when it comes with relationship over like cold pitches, right? So what do I mean exactly when you're going cold and building a relationship, right? It's doing the value-based outreach. And this is what I mean exactly when you're doing your value-based outreach. Value-based outreach is simply by maybe recording a Loom video that's personalized, recording a Loom that's personalized for that specific offer. Maybe there's something wrong, or they're missing an email list, or there may be like, hey, I would reach out to your old lead list, no, free of charge, right? And I just want to show it to you, and then reach out to those people and see if that's something that you'd be interested in. So you're giving them a value proposition because that's attractive to people who have their own offer right now, all right? So those are the things that you have to understand when you're doing cold outreach, is relationship-based. Or maybe they have their following list and you can message on behalf of them and book a call. Maybe find someone that might be interested. For example, if you're reaching out to a fitness offer, then go ahead and find people that might be interested in losing some weight, doing some conversations, and generating your own leads first, and then DMing the person, hey, someone might be interested in getting into your program. How can I book the appointment for you? And then, oh, here's the link. Because that's going to actually incentivize them to respond to your message. Your main goal in your first opening line is to just get them to respond. If you get them to respond, then now you've built up the conversation, right? Very important. Maybe you can compliment them something on their pictures or something and be like, hey, I've made this free guide for this free lead magnet for you to help you out when doing your cold outreach or whatever it is, or your lead generations, right? Because those things, you have to go the extra mile now. Because why? Because the market is evolving and you have to evolve with the market. And if you're doing the same tactic people are using from last year, from 2 years ago, how do you expect to get the results that you want? And ultimately, obviously, there's a lot of principles that is timeless, but that's what I'm giving you right now is you have to look at your inputs and outputs. If your inputs is not giving you the output that you want, meaning the results that you want, then you have to look at what are you doing on a day-to-day basis, right? If it's not guarding you the result that you want, then why are you doing it repeatedly? That means you have to look at it more of a scalability wise. So for example, I messaged a DM, right? DM, these are my responses. These are the metrics that you need to look for. DMs, response, interest, and booked interview. So those are the things you have to look into. For example, like let's say you sent 100 messages, right? And then you got 10 responses from them. Then that means you have 10% reply rate. That's not bad. And then interview maybe is just 0. And okay, cool. Well, maybe where did we mess up on the conversation, or did we follow up enough, or were we persistent enough, right? Were they actually looking for at that point? Maybe not, because sometimes offer creators maybe just already have an appointment setter, but maybe it's a no right now, but down the line, maybe it's not a no. So you have to build some type of relationship. And I'm also a big proponent when it comes on creating content because they want to work with people they like. Going back again on the principles, right? So create some content, make yourself human in your profile pictures, right? If you're using Instagram, Twitter as an outreach method, then those are the things that you have to look into, right? So just being creative in a lot of ways, right? Then especially now, there's a lot of tools you can use. ChatGPT is a very valuable tool that you can use, right? So maybe you can create an appointment setting tool or framework for them. Hey, this is an appointment setting framework I have. Would love to send it over to you to just help you book more calls, free of charge. I just wanted to get your thought with it. And this is specifically for fitness creators or fitness offer creators. So those are the things. ChatGPT, I highly recommend you using it and prompting something similar where you send them a PDF or something. Hey, I created something for you for appointment setting framework. I just wanted to send it over to you to just get some insight what you think about it. Then now they're more incentivized to look at it. I guarantee you, if you provide some type of value, if you do like a short clip for them, they're going to respond. That's why if you're a video editor, that's such a good lever. It's like you already have, if they can see it, the offer creator can see it and they feel like I'm indebted for this person, then you just feel like I'm more responsible to respond to this person because he's went out of his way to create something of value for me. And as humans, right, we feel more appreciated that way, right? Tapping into the psychology of things with sales. So again, I want to like really hit home the principles of why some outreach methods doesn't work is because you're copy pasting someone's strategy. Maybe it might have worked for that, but how many messages did they send to get to that yes? How many no's did they get before they got to that yes of the interview? So ultimately, I want to take this more for the people who's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe you're not doing enough volume, right? That's why looking at the inputs and your outputs, right? The volume itself needs to be already given, and then the tactical techniques or whatever it is. All right, maybe just the mindset that you're getting and the expectations you have getting into it and playing it a long game. And I guarantee you, if you just stick with this for 30 days and you have a set of actions to do every single day and you're disciplined with it, there is no reason for you to not get an offer, even if it's not the best offer, but to just get some type of experience, especially if you're a beginner, right? And if you've been watching a bunch of, how to land an offer multiple different ways and you haven't landed an offer yet in high ticket sales, right? Then maybe you have to look within yourself. Why haven't you been able to get that? Because if you already watched a bunch of videos and you haven't gotten the offer yet, is it really the tactics or is it yourself? How do you speak to yourself? What's your internal dialogue within yourself, right? And there's so many principles you have to get tapped into when you're getting into this space, right? That's why I'm looking at the inputs and outputs, and then ultimately, what is the feedback in between, right, of that input? What is the feedback? Do you self-reflect with the actions you take? And let's look at the paid ones now. Again, if you have some type of money, if you have some money saved up and you want to get into the space the fastest way, then I highly suggest you to just invest into yourself. Personally, that's how I got into the space. Obviously, I still need to work. I still needed to do the cold outreach. I still needed to create the content. I still needed to do all these things to acquire clients. But for you guys, for me, it's like I needed to network because I knew that's where the value is at. And if I were to just surround myself with people that are within the space, then it's going to be much more easier for me, right? And I have a free community as well. We have like 700 people there doing mock calls. They're sharing each other's wins and they're sharing some type of offer. So if you're not in there yet, go check it out. It's in the description below. But ultimately, it's networking. So another way you can look for it is like these people, they have life too. So they have some type of interest, right? So now there's a lot of networking groups. So for example, I'm part of this group called A Players Club, APC, right? And all of those people, they're like business owners in the online space, right? That's the niche. There's, SMMA people there. There's sales guys there. There's SaaS people there. There's fitness coach there. So I built some type of relationship, copywriters over there. And now that I have that network, then I can just start making a relationship with these people. And they're, by any chance, they know someone that might need a sales rep, right? And ultimately, that's how I'm able to guarantee people's placement as well within my program is because I have such a deep network within the community, within the industry, because I've been in this industry now for almost 2 years that I am kind of like the go-to guy. Oh yeah, that guy has a lot of sales reps, or he trained sales reps. He helps people, in high-ticket sales. So I just stuck with it long enough, and that's another thing, right? If you've just been in the industry, you're trying to break into the industry, and you've only been here for like 2 to 3 months, I guarantee it's gonna be more difficult for you. Your goal when you're just in the industry is to soak up as much information as you can, build some relationship, right? Become some type of value, someone who's likable, right? That's why I really like creating content. It's because it allows you to actually get offers. So for example, for me, before, I started creating content as well, that's how I got some of the clients or businesses that I've done, is I was able to get direct inbound. So I got a sales manager role just because they saw me, hey, we saw you're doing great and you're doing sales training. We're looking for a sales manager. Is that something that you might be interested in? Right? I might actually break down exactly on how you can do that as well. But that's what networking means, right? This is very indirect, but obviously, those requires money. There's some type of investment involved. And then also sales agencies. So these are the agencies that actually help people get placed into an offer. They're the one who works for people. So for example, for me, I have a sales agency, right? So I help people get into those offers, info, product offers, right? Is because I work directly with the offer creators, right? So ultimately, those are the 2 paid ones, and this is the free paid one. So again, if you have money and you want to reduce time and get the results faster, then I suggest you looking and exploring into networking and then working with agencies. But if you don't have money and you have a lot of time and you want to get the results, then these are the 2 recommendations that I have for you right now. Again, it does require some work. It's not going to be overnight, but that's how I was able to get the offers that I got to get the 10K months, right? 15, 20K months, get those clients, get those offers and those opportunities, right? And again, hope you guys found something valuable in today's video. And before I let you go, make sure you take action on what you've known here. It doesn't matter. I'm a big proponent. You don't want to just feel like you're productive by just watching a bunch of YouTube videos. Go out there and execute on what you just learned, right? What are the high principles that you do, right? Be disciplined, set of actions that you need to do on a daily basis. What are you going to do this next 30 days? It's just having clarity on what you need to do, ultimately, right? So if you want more information, more insights, go check out the description below. I have a free community where I have a full course guide over there as well in the classroom. I have a free school community as well. We have like 700 people now, and thanks to you guys who's been tuning in as well. But yes, that's pretty much it in today's video. If you guys found something valuable, and you think this is going to be valuable for someone else, go share it to them, help someone out, right? But as always, be a creator, not a consumer. Create something today that will inspire you and others. See ya.